What's going on, everybody? Spartan Overdrive back with another tree tutorial. This time we're going big. If you remember from last time, I was using smaller trees trying to fit them in with the average size tree in Minecraft. Since then, I've started making my single player world a lot more realistic by getting more appropriate size structures. So I thought it was time we update our trees as well. If you don't know, each Minecraft block is about 3 foot cubed or 1 yard cubed. I took that information to the National Arbor Foundation where I was able to find data for the average tree size. From there, I made several mature pine and oak trees that I'm going to show you now. As always, check the description where I've provided structure block files for all of these. If you're not sure how to use structure blocks, it's super easy, and I just happened to release a full tutorial on it. Check the upper right hand corner of your screen right now and you'll be able to link to that. Alright guys, let's jump right into it. Alright guys, let's start with a couple pine trees. We basically got a fat, wide version here, and then we've got a tall, lean version right here. I made these designs based off of a lot of personal experience as well as quite a few pictures that I looked up. I don't know the exact species, but the favorite pine trees that I found had a bit of a swoop in the branch. If you go back and watch my original tree tutorial, you'll know how I make these by starting with the branches and the interior of the tree and then working my way outwards. I did the same thing with these, and if we take a closer look, you can see that the branches kind of swoop down a little bit and then they go right back up. And what I did is I left as much space as I could in between each branch so that you could kind of tell that they swooped back up in that direction. In order to accentuate that swoop, I went ahead and placed a little more leaves on the top of the tree towards the base of the trunk as well as out towards the tip, and then I added a few more down at the bottom as well, just to, like I said, kind of accentuate that swoop there. There's only so much you can do with these huge blocks in Minecraft, so I did the best I could and I think it turned out alright. Now, one thing that isn't going to be realistic about these is if you decide to use them in a forest environment. It's not realistic, but it still looks good, and I did it anyways. I'm going to show you what it looks like later, but I do want you to know the reason it's not realistic is in the real world, if a pine tree is growing in the forest, it's actually going to shed its lower limbs in order to put all of its energy towards getting sunlight at the top. I tried that out, and frankly, it just doesn't look very good with these huge blocks. It's very difficult to make it look realistic, so I just went with what we have here. Alright, moving on to the oak trees. We did the same thing, and if you recall from the other tree tutorial, I like leaving the canopy open on the interior because in the real world, a tree will put all of its energy towards putting leaves on the outside. The inside doesn't really count. It would be a waste of energy because they're not getting much sunlight in there. I also use fence gates, slab, fence posts, buttons, and pretty much anything I can that will blend to try to give it a little bit more variety. The next tree is very similar. I actually based it off of that first oak tree design and just changed up the trunk, and then I went ahead and added leaves where appropriate to surround the different branches that I had there and filled it in so that it was a little fuller than the other one. This is where I started adding fence gates hanging down. To me, it reminds me a little bit of a broken twig or something hanging down, and it just gives it a lot of really good texture that I kind of dig and thought I would leave it in this one as well as the rest that I designed. The next one I wanted to give a little bit of a curved shape, and to accentuate that I kept a lot of leaves off of the trunk and the main limbs and tried to kind of accentuate just the tips of those areas so that you got kind of 3 bundles of leaves going on here. Now the final mature oak is my favorite. I went ahead and used darker wood to kind of set it aside, and I went ahead and designed this based on the very old oak trees that you see where they get so big they actually have a hard time supporting the weight of their own branches, and these lower ones will get down and touch the ground sometimes. I started off thicker at the base of the branch using logs and stair steps, and then as we get out to the outside edges, I made kind of secondary and tertiary limbs using fence posts and fence gates, and I think it turned out pretty good. Additionally, I went ahead and laid some roots out on the ground, since that probably would be the case with a tree of this size. And lastly, as a little bit of a bonus, I included a sapling here that would be hopefully even smaller than what you would find in Minecraft, and I think this really helped accentuate the forest that I made. Speaking of forest, let's jump into that, and I can show you how you can do that in as little as 20 minutes with just these few simple designs. Alright, here's a quaint little forest that I made in about 10 to 20 minutes with just a little bit of a bone meal and our favorite trusty little block, the structure block. If you're not totally familiar with what I'm talking about with structure blocks and how to do this as easily as I have here, I highly recommend that you check out the tutorial I just released on structure blocks, because like I said, you can create an environment just like this in just a matter of minutes. What I love about this is that you really don't see a whole lot of repetition, even though we only have a few structures to choose from here. If you like this simple little video, let me know with a like and a comment below. If you're new to the channel, I'd love for you to check out some of the fun stuff we get up to. There should be links on the screen to a couple videos I think you'll enjoy. Check them out, and if you like what you see, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and the bell as well so you don't miss a thing. My name is Spartan Overdrive. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep it creative.